How do I know you're not going to kill me when I hand them over?
Because I love you, Eileen. Come on, you know that's true.
Don't.
Coronation Street, who is stalking Eileen Grimshaw? 8 candidates who could be plotting against her. It's not just Phelan who has a vendetta against her. This time last month, Coronation Street's Eileen Grimshaw was innocently married to a serial killer and had no idea that the man she loved was quickly becoming something of an expert at bumping people off. But fast forward a few weeks, and Eileen's found herself not only outcast by most of Weatherfield. Now the truth about Phelan's murdering ways is out, but also the target of some very sinister goings-on. Friday's Corrie double bill, April 20th, sees Eileen left spooked by someone sticking nails in her car tires, before stealing the spare key from underneath her plant plot with sinister plans in mind. So, could Pat Phelan be back on Coronation Street, biding his time for the perfect revenge? Or is there someone else who has a vendetta against Pat's wronged wife? After being married to one of the most dangerous men to ever grace the cobbles, Eileen's certainly not short of an enemy or two. Here's a rundown of who could have it in for 1. Pat Phelan. The prime suspect for who could be stalking Eileen has got to be Mr. Phelan himself. When it comes to sinister doings, creeping around and generally leaving people terrified, Pat has got all 3 down to a T. He fits the bill perfectly. He knows Eileen inside out, he knows what will freak her out, he knows her daily routine and when she will be out of the house. While Eileen might think her husband is still floating in the icy sea somewhere, viewers know that he's still alive and well, and undoubtedly planning the ultimate revenge. But could Phelan be back on the cobbles already? Is it all a bit too obvious, or could his final revenge plan get going sooner than we thought? Seb Franklin. He's currently one of the few people on Coronation Street who has got Eileen's back. Along with Summer Spellman and Nicola Rubinstein, Seb has helped Eileen through one of the toughest times in her life to date. But could it all just be an act? Perhaps Seb's keeping his enemies close by pretending to be on Eileen's side, when really he's still smarting from the fact Eileen failed to listen when he told her how dangerous her husband was. Considering he's living under the same roof as Eileen, he's in exactly the right place to terrorize her with sinister goings-on. Whether it be leaving the back door open, moving spare keys or putting nails in her car tires. Perhaps he's not quite the friend Eileen thinks he is. 3. Gail Rodwell. Everyone knows that Eileen and Gail have always had some long-standing animosity between them. But could Gail be looking to teach her nemesis a lesson by making her think she's being stalked? Gail offers an olive branch in the Coronation Street double bill on Friday. Well, her idea of an olive branch, anyway, but Eileen takes offense when Gail starts comparing Pat to her serial killer ex-husband Richard Hillman and promptly throws Gail out of the house. Perhaps this latest argument between the warring women is the straw that's broken the camel's back, and scaring Eileen is Gail's way of bringing her down a peg or two? 4. Daniel Osborne. Is it us, or does Daniel seem to have a slightly over-invested interest in the whole Pat Phelan killing spree? Not only has he taken it upon himself to set up the Free Anna Windass campaign, but he's also been desperate to track down Vinnie's mum Flora. He claims he wants to do his bit because of the role he played in leading Phelan to Flora's door, which ultimately led to Vinnie's death, but could there be more to it than that? Stalking Eileen when you are neighbors would be very easy indeed, and whoever has been terrorizing Eileen certainly knows the street like the back of their hand. Maybe Daniel isn't such a wild card after all. 5. Gary Windass. Gary certainly has good reason to want revenge on Eileen. If Eileen had listened to Gary's mum Anna when she warned her about Phelan, Anna would still be a free woman and Phelan would probably be banged up. Gary knew that Phelan was a wrong un ages before anyone else, and his investigating even led to him being wrongly arrested for murder. Gary could either be sneaking around to scare Eileen, Or perhaps he's looking for something? Is he trying to get evidence against Phelan, or something to help free Anna from prison? Or something to frame Eileen so that she goes down for a crime she didn't commit, just like she watched poor Anna do? 6. Faye Windass. Now if anyone should have a direct vendetta against Eileen, surely it's Faye's mum Anna. She tried telling her on numerous occasions that her husband was dangerous. In fact, she couldn't really have spelled it out for Eileen any better. But still her pleas that she had been set up by Phelan fell on deaf ears. Surely that would make anyone want revenge? Perhaps Anna is getting Faye to do her dirty work on her behalf. Eileen had better get behind the campaign to free Anna soon, otherwise she's going to have some explaining to do should she ever see her again. 7. Owen Armstrong. We might not have seen Builder Owen on the cobbles since 2015, but that doesn't mean he couldn't be back in Weatherfield looking for revenge for everything Phelan put his ex-Anna through. In fact, if actor Ian Pulston Davis, who played Owen, is to be believed, his alter ego is the one who could finally sort Phelan out. He told TV Times, "People are always asking me when I'm going to go back in and finish Phelan off. I would have liked the two of them to have had a final showdown on the cobbles, a high noon encounter. Owen needs to come down from Aberdeen and sort him out once and for all. It could still happen. Be our guest, Ian. That's a final showdown we'd love to see. 8. Steph Britton. The last we saw of Steph, she was back in Weatherfield for her brother Luke's funeral. But now that the truth about Luke and Andy's deaths is out in the open, is Steph looking for someone to blame for their murders? With everyone thinking Phelan's dead, perhaps she thinks teaching Eileen a lesson is the next best thing to getting revenge on Phelan? There was no love lost between Steph and the serial killer last time she was back on the cobbles. Along with Gary, she had his number way before anyone else and even confronted him in the middle of the street after Luke's funeral. But if Eileen had listened to what everyone was telling her about Phelan, could Luke's death have been avoided? Surely that's more than enough reason for Steph to want to make Eileen's life as difficult as possible.